everyone, and welcome to the Level Up Lounge. I'm Impressionable, and I am here with...
WB, Walking Bobcat. What's up? Glad to be here.
Yeah, so this is kind of new. We decided to maybe just start a podcast together, talking about everything gaming news, what's current in the gaming world, but not just gaming, media in general, TV shows, movies that may be out in the limelight currently, and just basically just chewing the fat together, hanging out, talking about whatever. So, but primarily our favorite area is video games. So if you like video games, stick around because there's lots to talk about today. So we have a lot of things on the docket today, but the number one thing that we wanted to start with is the Video Game Awards. But before we get into that, I will go ahead and say, let's introduce ourselves here. I am Impressionable or Impressionable Gaming. That's my YouTube channel. That is what we are on right now, where I do voice impressions and play video games. And then my co-host here.
Yes, I do. First off, my name is Walking Bobcat over on Walking Bobcat on YouTube, and we do retrospectives of just topical things, but more so talking about doing videos on a video game and seeing how it works in the field of just like, I'm trying to figure out how to actually comment on what I do, but basically what I'm trying to do with my videos is bringing up a topic that's relevant and then putting it into video games.
Mm-hmm.
And that, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If you go and watch my retrospectives, you understand what will happen anyway.
Currently, he only has one video, but it's a pretty good video on Bad Company 2, right? Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Bad Company 2 and how EA, that was kind of their peak at that time.
Right.
I won't give it away, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. If documentary style videos on gaming and the history therein interests you, then definitely check him out as well. But so there we go. That's who we are, and we're gonna get down to business here. So one of the things that was on our mind and is on the mind of a lot of people in the gaming world right now, it just happened, was the Game Awards of 2023. So we were just gonna. I really wanted to have a discussion with you, WB, about just your thoughts on the Game Awards this year, and whether you thought what you thought was good about it, what you thought might have been bad about it, and just kind of talk in general about that. What are your initial thoughts on it?
So my initial thoughts on it is usually that from looking from now and from past Game Awards, it has been good on content. Necessarily not in the way that we would think usually, but with this one particularly, it was very interesting to see how there was a vast difference from last year's. If you remember from last year, it was very award-winning, as in how the name is, the Video Game Awards.
Yeah, like you're saying, it was like more focused on the awards being given and the winners of said awards instead of
just everything that is around.
Now, I will say part of that may be due to the fact that 8 minutes of it was Christopher Judge on stage.
Fair enough, and I understand that, and there's that with what happened last year with him, which, hey, but the thing is, I also feel like it was warranted in some aspects.
Right.
But with this year, with it only being almost 30 seconds to not even that.
Well, the thing is like I kind of see both sides in a way. Like I'm all right, let me put it this way. I'm probably sitting at more of a 75 to 80% on the side of, hey, that's BS, they should get more time, and then 20% on the side of, I understand why they're doing that, because I hadn't really thought about it until I was listening to a different podcast, Steak and Eggs podcast, where they were bringing it up, and one of the guys on there, his name's Tectone, he was talking about how difficult it is for sponsors and venue runners to keep the lights on over time.
Yes.
And how they
yeah.
they have a strict schedule, and sponsors do not give a damn about your feelings.
True.
Yeah. And that is true. But yes, I do personally feel like if you were going to sap people of their time, you might have tried to work in a window where you could maybe start a little bit earlier in terms of, or like maybe cut back on unnecessary jokes made by the co-hosts that doesn't need to be made, that are cringy and just waste time.
Yeah. No, I think also with that, the problem is that, well, not even the problem. I guess what I'm trying to rephrase is that one of the things that I keep looking at with the Game Awards is that this is kind of the hub, right?
Right.
So with a lot of other types of industries, they have different types of award ceremonies or venues that they can actually express and show these different types of things. So even though that, yes, we have, I can't think of like the Oscars, right?
Mm-hmm.
We still have South by Southwest.
Right.
We still have all these different avenues, so to speak, to go in, promote, and to so kind of give praise to these people doing these awesome productions,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you have that. But in the games area, we only had E3, Gamescom, and the VGAs. And maybe even if you want to go further, the DICE Awards.
Right. And I mean, and that's another thing, is like that's another topic to bring up eventually, is how E3 is dead now.
Yeah, and that's also what I was going to say too, is that with this, honestly, I can't think of his name at the moment, but the guy that runs the VGAs, he basically is, yeah.
Oh, shoot.
It's not Kevin Feige. I know that's Marvel, but
oh my goodness.
I even said his name earlier this week.
Oh my goodness. That's going to bug me now. It's
Jeff Keighley.
Jeff Keighley. My mind wants to say Phil Spencer, but that's Blizzard, isn't it?
That's what I was. Well, no, he's I guess
no, he's Xbox, isn't he?
He's Xbox.
He's
but
Xbox,
they own
yeah.
Blizzard now, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah. I think the reason why I said Blizzard is because Microsoft bought Blizzard or whatever. Or
yeah, right. Yeah. So, but with that, he basically owns everything now. The juggernaut that he used to work for, he has killed it.
Yeah.
And basically taken it over.
Yeah.
And so that's why, in my opinion, and look, hey, like you said earlier, he's trying to put on an event and he has people that he has to pay and also get paid from.
Right.
So the problem that I see, though, is that Jeff Keighley is the number one man at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are talking about any type of video game coverage that has the biggest audience, it's Jeff Keighley.
Yeah.
And so,
for sure.
because nobody has gone out of their way to do what Jeff has done, where he killed the Spike game. Or
are you talking about in terms of like a live event?
Yes.
Yeah, because in terms of events, I would probably say like Nintendo Direct probably draws more eyes, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
True, but I also feel like it doesn't get everybody there.
True. Yeah, yes, because the Video Game Awards is an umbrella for every single platform.
Yes. Yeah, and the other thing is you can go and say, hey, PlayStation has their own Direct. Mm-hmm. Xbox has their own Direct.
And that's part of the reason why E3 died. That's a big reason why E3 died, is because E3 used to be the place to go for that kind of stuff. And that's the thing, is like E3 was the place for announcements, and now the announcements just come straight from the horse's mouth, right? Yes. And
also, you have like the situation of what just happened with recently GTA 6 coming out right before the Gamescom Video Game Awards, and just doing their own thing.
Well, I will preface it. You said coming out, no, being announced.
Or being announced, yes. Well, they came out with something. That's what I was mainly.
I got what you say. It's out! It's out! Storm the gates now!
I know, right? Dude, I mean, hey, I would definitely get that game. Like, straight up with how GTA 5 was beforehand.
For sure.
It's a juggernaut.
I never even beat GTA 5, but like I understand. Yeah, I'm working on it right now. Like, I'm playing through it again. Okay. I'm working on it right now.
You.
But
there's a choice.
Oh yeah,
I'll just say that.
There's lots of choices. Like I've seen thumbnails and videos of how certain people can
Okay, gotcha.
unfortunately pass.
Cool.
But since it's choice
Fair enough.
oriented and not based in the game, it's not necessarily a spoiler because things might change for me.
Right.
So,
Yeah, definitely.
But,
And whatever you want to do.
right.
But yeah, no, to see him be the man, basically, he is the stage, it's the man, it's his idea, and having him come around and be like, hey, we're only going to give you a little bit of time to actually come out and talk about, because one of the things that I noticed that he said at the beginning, because times before, with the VGAs, he always kind of talked about developers and the industry as a whole.
Right.
And one of the things that I can't remember specifically what he said, so I'm not going to quote him on it.
Yeah.
But what the quote that I am thinking of kind of delved into, hey, these are the games, or basically it was like, I can't remember now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, what I was going to say was that basically these games, it's an award show.
Right.
But that's not what he was prefacing with. In actually the award show, he was like, we got great games coming out. And it's like,
Yeah.
that's not what, if you're going to do a Gamescom type thing, okay, then let's talk it let's take it as a game or Gamescom thing.
Yeah.
Right. If you're going to show me a bunch of trailers and that's it, and we're going to have maybe Matthew McConaughey come out and talk about a game that I don't even think he's actually in because they didn't show him at all.
No. He might just voice it. Who knows if he did mocap or anything like that.
I think he might be the bad guy.
Maybe.
But I was like, I was even talking to another person about this. I was like, yeah, I like that he was there. I love Matthew McConaughey and everything.
That was weird.
Interstellar
I wasn't
is
expecting that at all.
Yeah, right. But also, it kind of I was like, is he gonna be doing the Scarface thing from last year, where it's like, oh no, I can't remember what is his name.
Al Pacino.
Al Pacino come out and just do like some weird announcement.
That was so funny. He's like, I mean, first of all, like all respect,
all
like
respect, a bad fever dream for him. I love him,
dude. All respect to Al Pacino, but he looked so lost on stage. He came up on stage and he's like, I don't know anything about these video games, and it's like, I watched my great grandson play these games and stuff, and they're pretty crazy.
Anthony Mackie also had the same thing where they were both like, I'm gonna get pointers for this with my children or grandchildren.
Guys, oh yeah.
You're messing up right now. They're not.
Yeah. Wait, who said that? It was the one that announced
Mackie. From
he was the one that announced the Fortnite thing, or no,
it was for
it was for
the show. I can't think of what the
one
about the cars blowing up. I always it's a PlayStation game.
Oh, Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal. Yeah, because he's in that on Peacock.
That's right. Yeah, the guy that what was his name again? He's the one that took over Captain America.
Anthony Mackie.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, it's so funny when you see people that have no idea about the gaming world come into the gaming world for a second, especially like Al Pacino. Like, dude, that guy was in
didn't even know where he was.
That guy was in his prime in the 70s.
Yeah, but honestly, no, he's still okay. I will say this, and I know this is like a tangent or like a sidebar. He is actually really good in one of his shows. It's like on Amazon
he's still
Prime.
amazing. Don't get me wrong, but when he was like at his peak. Like the top of the top, the legendary status came from his movies in the 70s, i.e. Scarface and The Godfather, stuff like that.
Or
right?
even Heat.
Heat as well. That was in the 80s though, wasn't it?
I want to say it's like late 90s, early 2000s.
Oh wait, was it really? Okay, yeah.
I could be wrong.
But yeah,
he's
like
in a show called Hunters, which he's also really good in that one too.
Yeah, no, he's a legendary actor, but it's so funny because like when somebody like, it doesn't matter how much of an expert you are in a certain field, the moment that you're in a field you don't really recognize or don't know much about, it's so awkward, especially when Christopher Judge walks up to him and tries to give him that really awkward hug. And you know, he's just like, who are you?
Like, do not touch me. Is this a thing? Like,
He's like, who are you? I don't know who you are.
Dude, he's 83. That's crazy.
That's crazy, dude.
Also, The Heat came out in 1995. So
95?
95, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's the same year Casino came out. I watched that recently.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And Robert De Niro was also in Heat, wasn't he? Or no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I just recently watched that one for the first time. Even though I've had it for like years, I was like, oh, this is
Heat.
really good. I also didn't even watch it on my actual disc.
Yeah.
Like, watched it on TV.
Anyway, back to the Game Awards. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like, there's a lot that can be said about the production of it. All in all, I thought it was a great award ceremony. I think a lot of people were being too harsh on it, and the harshness, I feel like, personally just came from the fact that their game wasn't mentioned. I feel like that's where a lot of the heat came from. Like, obviously there was a lot of people that were like, talk more about GTA 6 because it just.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of people that's like, GTA 6, and if no GTA 6, then we storm the gates. Like, that's a big thing that I saw. Because I was watching the, I was reacting to it on my own Twitch. But, like, I was watching the live chat every now and then as well. And obviously a lot of people were looking for Silk Song, which will never come out.
Well, honestly, I think with one of the, I can't remember which one it is. Hold on, I'm looking at the doc that we have. It was Azumi, or no, that was, where is it? I'm sorry. There was a game called Zazu, which kind of reminded me of Silk Song. Like, I was like, ooh, this could be a competitor for that. Or Zau, or it's.
Let me see here. I'm looking.
I know.
I'm looking here. I'm trying to find it here.
Zao.
Zao.
Tales of Conzernia.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Zura.
Let me click on this real quick. Let me see. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Let me.
It had the guy that played Siwa from Assassin's Creed Origins.
Let me see.
I guess he was. Oh, I guess he was in Diablo 4. Okay. But yeah, no, it's his personal game and kind of like love letter to his father.
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yes.
That guy. Yeah. That looked very interesting. That, and it seemed like, because it was a side scroller, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And it looked a lot like the
vibe of
the Prince of Persia game that's also coming out. Very similar.
Yeah.
And I thought it looked cool, man. People are so heartless in those chats. I mean, it's the internet, so like, what do you expect?
Yeah.
But like, man, so many people are like, boo, mid, Silk Song.
Honestly, I was so excited for that. Like, after I heard his story about it. See, I'm more of a I like stories, especially with like video games and different stuff, of just being, and not even like actually like the actual game has to have story. If there's a good story like behind it, of just like, hey, we worked our ass off, just having that as like your background, I'm already down. Even if it is kind of trash, I'll give it a try because I love those types of things. Even like when they showed now this one actually is a recent one. I can't remember, and I don't want to disrespect the name, so I'm gonna look it up. But it was a food game.
Are you talking about the guy, Abi, who was like from India, and he like made
and it's called Vemba,
and it's like
that's what it's called.
It's like pixel art.
Yeah, it's called Vemba.
Yeah, I remember his name specifically because I made a really stupid joke when he said, "Hello, my name is Abi." Because I said, "Oh yeah, Amber Heard's dog stepped on him."
Oh no, Abi, no, that's awful.
It's the stupidest
yes,
joke.
that game is out. It's called Vemba, and
it looked cute. Like, it looked
so good.
Yeah, is it really? It seems like one of those games that's very satisfying.
Yeah.
Like, if they were to mix gameplay like that in with like what's his name, Dave the Diver. It would be really cool if you
like
could,
everybody's trying to do with Dave the Diver. Like, I was so surprised about the Dredge thing.
Oh yeah. How they mix them together. So I don't know what Dredge is really, but I heard a lot about it.
Dredge is just like a single player fishing adventure with sinister occurrence.
Okay.
Undercurrents.
I see.
So it's basically Dave the Diver.
Right. So we've talked,
which is also the same.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about like the structure and presentation of the Video Game Awards, which was lacking in some areas because it seemed more, like as you said, it was more focused around gaming presentations and announcements instead of the actual awards. Because yes, I would agree the way that they breezed through some of those awards seemed very like they didn't care as much. Like, all right, let's get past these so we can get back to what you want to see, which is the friggin' trailers, which is like, nah, not really.
Okay, I will say this. In his defense, obviously, look, you have to pay for different things, and I get that.
Oh, I don't blame Jeff Keighley at all.
I kind of do to some extent, because I mean, there were 3 to 4 trailers of Fortnite.
So do you think Jeff Keighley completely decides the
lineup? Yeah.
Well, not just the lineup, but like how much time is spent on a certain thing? Does he coordinate all of that himself?
I think that him and his team, I don't think it's just him, but because you can't just be one person.
Right. Yeah, of course.
I mean, at the beginning, maybe, but now you have a team. Like, if I was in his position, and look, like I said before, I hope I did, I've never done anything like that, so I can't actually be like a person of like,
I can't imagine the stress of running an event like that for
but there is
thousands.
so much stress between that. And so to have that just on one person, I really don't think, I mean, I bet he's making the cold calls because he has the name and he has the reputation of being a big voice in the community of games. Because like, look, majority of the time, like I even thought it was kind of interesting that he was actually like posting things on his Twitter of hey, this game's out, I was like, you don't do that though,
right? And like, I do gotta say, there was more than likely so much on his mind. Security had to be top notch because of the Bill Clinton kid from last year.
Well, I don't know if you saw this, but at Gamescom it happened as well.
Yeah, those 2 guys that came up.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about the 2 guys that came up in
Earth or something.
One of them had a shirt with his Twitch on it, and he was trying to promote it.
Oh, I thought it was more so of like what is it? Ozone stuff.
Well, no, so we're talking about the 2 guys that stormed the stage, right, together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the one that was talking about whatever he was talking about, right? But the other guy, you can see him
together.
Yeah, no, they were. But you can see the one guy that was like his hype man that was with him walk across the screen barely, and he's holding his shirt up like on the front of his shirt. He's holding it up, trying to show off like whatever decal he had on his shirt, you know.
Gotcha.
But
he's like, check out my Halo 3 t-shirt.
Poor Jeff, honestly, because that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah.
So like obviously you have the stress of that, and you want to make sure everybody has their moment. And then at the same time, you're trying to get all, you know, because surely the people that are being advertised up there, like the game, the trailers and everything, are more than likely those people probably paid like an exuberant amount to have their game posted up there.
I totally understand that.
Right.
And I get it.
Yeah.
But I feel because he has so much leverage, because E3 is not there, then... You know, hey, if I think of it as kind of like as an Amazon thing, right? When you have,
he's got the monopoly.
He has the monopoly at this moment.
Yeah,
he can say whatever he wants. If he wants those people to be there. Now, I know with certain people, obviously, like, hey, like I know Epic has the money. Epic's got that money. They have my money. They have your money. You know, that type of thing is like, if they want, they know that either they can get their money through doing the VGAs, through doing Super Bowl ads, doing anything that they want. Because honestly, I saw all of those. Like, I'm always going to see Fortnite stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I get whereas maybe a lesser known video game such as like GTFO or something of that sort comes out and was like, hey, we actually need that area to do that stuff. I get that as well. But when you have the mass majority, I feel like he's going to be able to be like, hey, this is how much I need. And if you guys want to be there, because they want to be there, even though that they may be the top, they still want to be there.
Right.
Or they would just do a GTA and not be there. Like Rockstar did it perfectly. You know, they did it right day one or day before, or like
the day.
Was it the day before or like 2 days before,
dude? Oh, that's a
Yeah.
You're making me think of the game that came out the day before. Did you hear about all that?
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I don't know if I talked to you. I know that like no, I didn't talk to you
What
about
a
it. I talked to
joke,
somebody else
dude.
about it.
That's a whole nother topic.
I started dying laughing because they were like, "Hey, we came out with our first game, and hey, by the way, we're closing." Like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
dude.
So that's one thing I was gonna say. Like, so obviously with the dude that came out for Zhao, right?
Yes,
For the passion project for his father.
Zhao.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's great. And like I'm with you on like supporting people that have a huge passion project. But then on the other side of the coin, you have these dishonest freaking people like the company that did the day before that come out and they're like, we worked hard on this game. It's like, no, you didn't. Don't try and guilt trip me.
NFTs and everything. No,
Don't try and guilt trip me into this garbage. Nah, dude. This is nothing but just a huge pile of feces you're trying to feed to me. I'm not gonna take it.
I have a question. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do any of the ones that they showed this year at the VGAs, did that give you the same appeal? Like we're just going for the pockets.
Oh, you mean like
Was there
games I'm actually hyped for?
Not that you're hyped for, but the games that they showed at the VGAs.
Oh, okay. Like from what they showed,
like,
it looked like a cash grab or not?
Yep.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
did it look like a cash grab? Okay.
Yeah.
So I will say, I mean, obviously for obvious reasons, Zenless Zone Zero is a gacha game. Everybody knows it. It's made by HoYoverse. So
how dare you?
So,
I knew you were gonna say that.
So obviously Zenless Zone Zero, as well as like Honkai.
Excited for that one.
Well, no, like look. I have nothing wrong with gacha games, right? If they're pay to win, they're pay to win. If the game is fun and you enjoy playing it while free to play, then that's perfectly fine. And if you want to spend money on it, that's perfectly fine too. If you enjoy,
but I feel like they also put a solid thing out. Like if you do that,
well, yeah, like
Skull and Bones,
like Genshin, Genshin
oh.
Impact. Genshin Impact has its own story to it, aside from the entire PvP section, right?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, like it has.
I've never played it.
It has its own. Neither have I. I haven't either, but I've just heard enough about it to know that there is a story there. And obviously, it's there's plenty of people that are free to play that probably don't spend any money in it that play it and enjoy it. So like, I'm not saying I would never play Zenless Zone Zero. I'm just saying, let's say it like it is. It's a gacha game. It's meant for microtransactions. That's what it's meant for. Now, and that's fine.
Maybe.
Same thing with Honkai Star Rail. You know,
have you actually played a little bit of that, by the way?
Honkai?
I think you should. I think you would like.
No, I want to. I want to try them.
Okay.
Like I said, I have nothing against them. I'm not going to spend money.
Did I ever tell you about before? Yeah. So I thought that was going to be a free game, which it is, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to go buy it beforehand, before it actually released, it was like $20.
Right.
Which I thought that was crazy. I was like, I know it's just sitting there.
Right.
But this is gonna be free? Like, no.
Yeah. So your question was, are there any games that looked like a cash grab?
Or or just like that type of like.
Right. So if I had to say,
we're not gonna see this later.
Right. Honestly, they have to be fairly decent games to even be shown. Like obviously they're vetted before they're shown on the VGAs.
I don't know about that though.
You don't look. I'm just guessing, because the thing is like. A lot of the games, like, yes, sure, not all of them appealed to me because I may not be the target demographic. I may not be the audience that it's looking for, right? I mean, freaking Hello Kitty Adventure Island or whatever, it got nominated. I'd never heard of it before.
Which one?
The Hello Kitty one.
What?
It was nominated for mobile.
Was it mobile?
I think it was mobile.
Okay, I think the whole reason why you haven't heard of it was because it wasn't out for that long.
Right.
It came out at the very, very end.
And apparently it popped the hell off.
Well, it's Hello Kitty. What do you expect? I was surprised that Terra Nil was there.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of that one?
No.
I actually have it downloaded. It's a Netflix game. Or at least
I did hear that. I thought I had heard something about Netflix like kind of branching into that territory. Shoot, man. I don't know, because like the thing is like me personally, I don't think Netflix has a very strong lineup. Like they're getting better in recent days, but like shoot, man. Netflix was like the shovelware of like TV shows. Like
True,
for the longest time. Other than
in there.
other than like Stranger Things and like Castlevania and to a certain extent The Witcher while it was up.
Yeah.
But like they only had like a few very strong IPs for a while there. They used to be like the big mans until streaming services like Amazon Prime and Disney Plus came out.
Right.
But anyway, I don't want to get too off topic.
No, you're good.
So we've talked about some of our gripes. Obviously, like I think if I was to change anything about the Game Awards, I would have said give each person that comes on stage to actually accept a physical award, give them at least like 2 minutes.
Yeah. No, I think honestly, if they would have, I think what they should do, because as I was watching it earlier today, I was re-watching everything. I noticed that everything for trailers were either different numbers in the sense of length. And what I think that does is that messes up a lot of those speeches that could happen. The thing that I think is this, is that he's using television ideologies with this show. And what I mean by that is this, is that he's doing but in the opposite way.
Right.
If that makes sense.
I think I know what you're saying. You're saying like
he's using it more so as like, okay, the speech is 30 seconds or less. Like that's what you got to do. And then we come back and we're going to watch 5 minutes of a trailer or some sort of new trailer, or give somebody as a platform to then talk about their new latest game.
Right. Because like the thing is like in the grand scheme of things, people like to get hyped up about things, whether it's movie trailers and previews before the big movie, or whether it's like, you know, video games. People like seeing trailers and being like, oh, that looks awesome, you know, because that's their time to shine. And so they're thinking, you know, let's pump out as many trailers as possible because that's what people really like. That, I mean, and I get it. Like in terms of like business, the only people that really care about speeches are the people that are there and the people that have fond feelings about whatever game is being won.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think if you are promoting it as a award show,
yes, that I do agree with. It should revolve around the awards themselves instead of, you know,
especially with the lineup that we had this year is just crazy and phenomenal.
Yeah.
To an extent of like, even now, after the awards have happened, there are still bangers coming out. I've been hearing a lot of good things about what was it? It was a VR game that just came out on MetaQuest 3.
That's a good segue. Let's talk about the games we're excited for. So that game on MetaQuest 3. Now, are you talking are you talking about the one that has to do with like those weird duck-looking people that are walking around with their friends?
Not at all, but I am excited about that one.
Are you?
Yes. Because it reminds me very much so of Firewatch.
Well, yeah, it actually gave me some Firewatch vibes too, and I've never played. I never played Firewatch.
Absolutely lovely game.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
You and I've talked to you like off air of that game so much.
Yes,
and, like,
you have.
I was going to make a video about it, which I think honestly next year would be probably the best time to bring it out. Which hopefully that will.
Right.
With what I'm talking about in that scenario of that video game, it will probably work if the video game industry kind of cuts off, which I do think that will happen next year, is that we will have a cutoff date on a bunch of video games where it's like, it's not as popping. Like,
you think?
Especially with all of the situations that have happened with like Embracer Group owning so many video games. I think there will be some companies that will stand out, like such as PlayStation and Xbox, but I think with all the layoffs that have been happening, also that was another thing that I thought was interesting that they didn't talk about were layoffs at the VGAs, but I digress. But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see Asgard's Wrath 2. That's what it was.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. I am interested about that because like,
if that looks like you're out.
Well, the thing is, I mean, obviously Matt Mercer is voicing in it, and that is exciting.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh, did you not get to that part?
No, I didn't know that.
So yeah, when they mentioned Asgard's Wrath, he's the voice of Loki.
Oh,
So
that makes sense.
So he's the main antagonist, and I was excited for that. But I do gotta say, now I know obviously VR it's only going to get better, but like
Yeah.
in terms of now this one's for the Quest, right?
Yes.
Right.
It's for all the MetaQuests except the first one, I assume.
Okay.
Unless MetaQuest Pro is the first one, I don't know.
Right.
I'm
So
not.
now,
I'm not in the.
I will say, obviously, with the Quest being its own separate console, just on your head alone with no cords, obviously there's a lot of leeway for like visuals not being as great but it's sacrificed for the comfortable and easy setup of just putting the headset on. Right. Obviously, that's great. So in terms of like graphics, it didn't look the greatest, but as long as the gameplay is fun and the story is cohesive, then I'm fine with that. I'm willing to definitely give it a chance, of course. As far as if we're getting into things that we are really hyped for, there's a number of things. I thought there was a lot of bangers that are possibly coming out that could be really good. Now, I think the one thing that probably got me the most hype is the Sega Genesis remasters.
Yeah, that was good.
Those looked freaking insane. The Golden Axe remake, because I used to play. I had those. Like I had the It was called Six Pack. I still have it. I think it's in my other room. It was called Six Pack, and it was a cartridge for the Sega that had like 6 different games on it, including the first Sonic. It had Golden Axe. It had like a motocross game. It had Shinobi. It had
you already got 2 of the 5, right?
Yeah,
so
it had what was it called? Columns, which was like Bejeweled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and so I remember playing Shinobi, and that game was really hard.
Yes,
the game was difficult.
It was so hard, like on every single platform.
Right.
'Cause even if you went to like the Game Boy one, you're like, oh, this is gonna be easier. No, it's not.
No. They're cutthroat, dude. They are really cutthroat. But Golden Axe was my jam, dude. I love that. So I was so
hyped for that because it looks so good so far.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we don't know anything about it, but I was like, instantly after I saw that commercial, or not commercial, but that trailer, I was like, this is how you do it.
Yeah,
Sega.
that'll be great.
Sega is showing how to do like presentations.
Yeah.
So I was like, 5 games? That's crazy.
Now that's, of course, those are remasters, not even remasters, just complete remakes, overhauls of the game. But it is a game that had already existed in the past. Now, if we're talking about games that are coming out, new games, there's a lot, dude. There's a lot.
I know. Yeah.
Like obviously Black Myth Wukong, I'm so excited for. Like I love those.
Which one was that one?
Huh?
Was that the monkey one?
Yes, that is the one where you play as like the monkey, like monk. Don't want to be redundant here, but
gotcha.
The monkey monk, and it's like Sekiro, from what it looks like anyway. It looks like a Souls-like, right? A Souls-like game.
Yes.
And of course that's awesome. Now I know this one's another remaster, but did you ever play Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons?
So actually, I was going to talk to you about that one because I was like, that's up your alley because of what we did with the one game. I can't remember.
Oh, you're talking about a Way Out,
video.
And
for that,
there's a Way Out, and we also played It Takes Two.
Yes, and links in description for those 2 videos. You can check them out.
Those games are great.
Plug. There we go. Do I know how to podcast or what?
Oh,
no, I'm kidding.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, no, I'm really excited to see that one because initially I had never played that one.
Oh, they're good. It is good. I played it. I beat it twice.
Yeah. Now I have the question: was that on PS3 or was that just Xbox 360?
Well, it might have been on Xbox 360, but I only played it on PS3.
I know it was on Xbox 360. Okay. I'm just
I played it on the 3. I played it on the 3,
okay.
and then I think I have it on Steam. I played it on Steam the second time.
Fair
I'm pretty
enough.
sure.
Okay, cool.
But
no, I'm excited to see that one because I've never played it.
It was good. It was good because like especially if you're a person that enjoys story focus, like that game was not focused on gameplay. It was more focused on puzzle solving, and there was obviously an element of gameplay. So the way that it worked was, in order to interact with items, you would use like
art. Now, didn't you have to split a controller though? I think that's what kept me away from it.
It was not meant to be a multiplayer game.
Right.
It was meant for the coordination of like hand-eye coordination. It seemed more focused around as far as like puzzle solving and stuff, because one half of the controller controlled one brother and one half of the controller controlled the other brother.
Right.
And I thought that was an interesting concept, having to do both of that at the same time. But
now I have a question. Does that break, do you think, in your opinion, do you think that would break the flow of that game?
Not at all.
If they were to change it? Okay.
No,
because
not at all.
I'm wondering if they're gonna keep it that way.
Oh wait, you're saying if they changed it?
Yeah, if they will change it in the remake.
What do you? If they changed it, the only way that they could change it that makes it work is if it was meant for 2 players.
Gotcha. So if they split it down the lane, kind of like how they did with it's oh my god,
It Takes Two.
Takes Two.
Well, the problem here is that if it's anything like the first game, if it's a complete different overhaul and they add things to it, then fine. But excuse me, if it's like the first game, the controls were very minimal, right? So it's like 1 or 2 buttons per brother, right? Like it's like an interact button, and that's it.
Okay,
that's it.
Gotcha.
You had like an interact button, or like one other button for like jumping and grabbing or whatever. And like that was it, and then you move them with the joystick. That was it, and it was simplistic for the simple fact that you have to control both of them at the same time, obviously. Gotcha. So if they keep it like that, and it's that stupid simple, like 1 button and then moving them around, it would be very boring, I would think.
Okay.
The reason why it was more fun is because you're trying to multitask and control both of them at the same time. Now it might not be boring. Like the thing is like. The reason why
it really wasn't like a multiplayer game.
No.
It was a single player.
No, it was a single player puzzle, hand-eye coordination based, controlling 2 characters at once kind of game.
Gotcha.
And it was very, very unique in that aspect. And I actually really loved the game, especially because it's one of those games. It's like Limbo or Inside, if you ever know what those games are.
Oh, okay. Or Cocoon, maybe. Have you played Cocoon yet?
I have not, but it's one of those silent games.
Gotcha.
Like there's not a single word that is said by anybody. The only thing you get is like, I wouldn't say there's no voice acting. Obviously, there's like grunts and like crying and like sounds of joy and stuff. It's like Simlish kind of, right?
Gotcha.
But it's very, very minimal. That's not the whole point of it. But there's boss battles and stuff, and like, but the bosses are all puzzles to figure out. It's a good game. If you ever decide to play it, I highly recommend it. It's great. Okay. It's really good.
I might check it out whenever it remakes.
Yeah, the story is good. I loved it. The first time I played through it, it like changed my view of video games.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
See, and I always like those types of video games. Like I think every video game should push some limit of some sort.
Yeah, like it should make you feel something for sure. Yeah, and that game definitely did for sure. The other games that I'm super excited for, obviously the God of War Ragnarok had its own DLC. That's pretty hype, and it's already released by this point, right? I believe.
Yes, it came out on Tuesday.
Right. I need to get on that.
I'm
obviously
excited for that too.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out is huge. I still need to finish the first one.
I do too.
I need to play Dave the Diver.
How far are you in that, by the way? I'm curious.
Of the first Final Fantasy?
Yeah, of the remake.
So the furthest that I got in that was the Ghost Train Graveyard.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then we're probably around the same area, because at least on my first try, because before my thing got hacked, I was probably around there. Right now, I'm in the train area, and we're going to go fight somebody with Barrett at the moment.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's see. Yeah, there's a lot here. So obviously, Final Fantasy 16 are getting their own little updates, and I still need to finish the basic game, but those look pretty cool. Honestly, with me being as messed up as I am in the head in terms of like horror games and things like that, the Outlast Trials seemed very interesting to me.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, like the guy reaching his hand into the innards of the one guy laying there on the desk and being like, "Ugh," as it's all squirming around. Like I don't know
Yeah.
what it is about me, dude, but I love that stuff.
Fair enough.
And I'm just kind of quickly shotgunning through this. The Prince of Persia looked very
no, you're good.
interesting as a platformer, obviously. Rise of the Ronin looks sick, dude. That
I
game,
kind of disagree.
really?
And the only reason why is because it looked better at PlayStation
Oh,
when they
really?
showed it. Or I think it was either PlayStation or X. It was another show
Mhm.
that they showed, like the very first thing, and it was just, I think it was just a trailer, and I was like, I'm excited because that's the one where the guy, he's like shooting a gun at samurais, correct?
So
right?
I'm looking through it real quick. It's made by Team Ninja, which is the same people that
Yeah.
did Neo.
Right. Okay, that makes a lot more sense then to me,
hmm
because Neo games to me look awful,
Oh, really?
in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, obviously, hey, say, or not hearsay. I don't know why I'm using law terms.
Mhm.
Um, but it's, to me, those games, they look good in their trailers. They look awful in their gameplay.
Okay. Okay.
Same
Now,
thing
now,
even
I
with,
think the reason for that though is
what
like,
is it?
a-
Wolong looks awful
you think
to me.
you think Wukong? You mean?
Wukong, yeah, excuse
Really?
me.
You think
But
that
yeah,
doesn't look good?
I've played it. I don't like it.
Oh, you
I
mean
was
no?
like,
Wait. No,
Wolong.
sorry. Wolong. Yes, that
Oh, yeah.
that game was apparently really bad.
I heard that it was good though. Like,
Mm.
people liked it.
Well,
To me personally, it just looked awful.
there was a lot of things about the gameplay that apparently were not
And
really
that's
fun.
me being a very novice in this
Right,
type of
right.
Souls slash like.
See, I
fast.
like a game with a really good challenge. Like I love
True.
that kind of stuff. Like I'm playing
Played
through
Lies of P
Sekiro
yet?
right now, and I'm at the final boss, and yeah,
Okay.
it's very very difficult, but man, it's rewarding in my opinion. But yeah,
That's what,
I
but have you played Lies of P? I'm just curious.
yes, I finished it.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Gotcha.
Yes, I really liked Lies of P. I thought it
Yeah.
was great.
See, but that one also doesn't look bad. I like that one.
Yeah, I thought it looked great. Now, of course, depending on the studio and depending on the engine that they use and depending on how
Right.
they do it, like obviously there will be things that are different, but like graphics aren't the end all be all for me, you know. I think Asmongold put it right whenever he said that graphics are merely a sprinkles on a cupcake. Because if the gameplay is really good, graphics don't matter. Look at Dave the Diver, look at Minecraft, look at Undertale, you know.
I totally get that, but then I look at like games such as like
Look at a Kane
Ghost
or a
of
Kane or
Tsushima.
whatever it's called. Oh yeah, no.
I look at Ghost of Tsushima, and every time I restart that game, I'm like, this is a freaking movie.
Oh yeah,
dog.
yeah.
Like, this
but
is
let's be honest
amazing.
though. Let's be honest. If the gameplay sucked, would it be as good?
True. No, I definitely agree. I
Yeah.
think majority of the time
So
controlling it is better than anything.
Ga-
I
yeah,
mean,
gameplay-
Final Fantasy VI,
gameplay, obviously with it being a video game, gameplay will always take priority over graphics. Now, it depends on what your goal is. If you're a AAA
Right.
title that's trying to accomplish a movie type scenario, that's where sometimes graphics and presentation will supersede gameplay in specifically games like Detroit Become Human or Heavy Rain or those story-based games where gameplay kind of takes a back seat to graphics. And in times like that, yeah, the gameplay isn't as important, but the story is so gripping, you want to know what happens next. And in times like that, I totally understand where graphics are a big factor. And of course, as technology gets bigger and continues further on, obviously that's going to be more of a function. Everybody's going to update it. I mean, look at GTA 6, dude. That game looked crazy. It looks crazy.
But
dude.
I also think that, like, even with that too, like, I'll say this, I'm looking at Koei Tecmo's, like, what they've made,
Mhm.
and I'm like, yeah, this one looks good, this one looks bad, this one looks good. And I think that that's the thing, is that the quality control of these games are iffy.
Yeah.
Because with, like, Wolong, I look at that one and I'm like, oh, that's bad. But also, I really like Ninja Gaiden. The Master Collection was pretty decent. It
Right.
looked nice and it worked well. So that's why I'm like, they have, at least at that company, they have the way to make it look nice and do it well. Even with like Team Ninja as well. I'm kind of blanking on what they've made before, but that's the thing is like I think the quality control is what you also kind of have to look at too, because like I mean, the only way for them to actually pull me in for this game specifically is if it's actually decent looking.
Okay, so Team Ninja, as far as games that they've made, and actually now looking it up because I had never looked it up before. So
they actually did do Wolong.
Yeah, Team Ninja did Wolong. Yeah,
Actually, it's kind of interesting because I'm like they both have on both places. They merged with them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So gotcha. Wolong, I'll be honest, like at least from streamers and things like big media that I've listened to, it just seemed like Wolong wasn't that great. Because of gameplay. There was a lot of things about the gameplay that kind of sucked apparently. Now obviously for anybody listening to this, I never played Wolong, so don't get mad at me. Like I haven't played it, and I'm fully aware that my opinion is null and void and holds no weight because I never played it. But as far as the other games that Team Ninja has made, they did Ninja Gaiden. They apparently did the Final Fantasy Origins, Strangers of Paradise.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Now, I will say, in my opinion, I don't think the gameplay of that was too bad, but the story was awful. Obviously, but it was so funny, dude. The Limp Bizkit thing was so funny, freaking. And then let's see, they did Hyrule Warriors. Now that game was kind of mixed. Like it wasn't too bad. A lot of people seem to really like it.
Depends on where you played it.
Right. They did the Neo games. Now, in my opinion, I think the Neo 1 and 2 are great games. Now, well, actually, I should say Neo 1 is a great game. I've played Neo 1. I have not played Neo 2, but I've only heard good things about it, in my opinion.
Okay,
go
continue.
ahead.
Yeah, say your thing.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
I was going to say
I was looking at something and then I was like,
they did the Dead or Alive games.
Yes. Okay, that's also another thing.
They also did Dynasty Warriors.
They also did the Dead or Alive volleyball game.
They did. Now that's a W.
So if they make the women look great in that, I'm just saying, yeah. They have the ability, dude.
No, like look. Let's be honest.
They got all the horny guys to get it.
Yeah, let's be honest. All in all, Team Ninja has made some really good games. Like they're a decent company.
No doubt about that.
The same cannot be said for let's see. Who is it? Let me see. The same cannot be said for. Is it Daedalic Entertainment?
Daedalic. Which one's that one?
They're the ones that made the Gollum game.
Okay, that's also like an NFT cash grab type game, though.
Oh my god, that's the most disappointing game of the year. Either that or Rise of Kong. I'm surprised it still got a 5 out of 10 on Steam. 5 is too generous.
It's still on there. Like
true. Yeah. Oh man.
So, okay, I am watching the Rise of Ronin trailers from both different times, from 8 months ago to the one that they just showed.
Right.
And obviously, these look like cutscenes.
Sure.
But
they're pre-rendered.
I will say they're highly polished, especially because they just showed one scene from the one that was actually shown in the one that they showed at the VGAs,
right? Versus
this one, and looks hella polished,
right?
On the exclusive gameplay one, and they even showed gameplay, so that's why I'm kind of surprised.
Yeah,
you shot the guy, in the video because he's like he has his sword, and that was the weird thing.
Yeah, I saw it.
But that's what I'm saying is like, there's polish there. They've done it before. That's why I'm just kind of surprised that when they actually show gameplay of it, it's not up to par with what they've done previously.
Well,
because they've shown the quality.
Well, depending on the studio and depending on how big they are and depending on what their idea is for the game, it's only going to... Very rarely does a game transition from a pre-rendered cutscene to actual gameplay and it not look a bit different. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, like obviously, like I could use examples like Kingdom Hearts and stuff, but like in Final Fantasy games. But of course, like pre-rendered cutscenes are
I
gonna
was
be,
gonna say that. Yeah.
yeah,
It's gonna be like Final Fantasy 16 looks like the shit, dude.
right,
Honestly,
right. Now,
like
now it depends. Again, it depends on the studio and what engine they're running and stuff. But like, I can appreciate game companies that prioritize gameplay. Now, it may not look the greatest, but if it plays and it's a fun game, like hell, dude, if the game's fun, the game's fun, you know, and that's what really matters. I mean, another great example of graphics not being like the biggest factor is look at like Vampire Survivors or Halls of Torment or
was Vampire Survivor. That's the one that's like the top down shoot them as much as you can.
Well,
and survive.
you just move around, you kill enemies, you pick up power-ups. It's like a roguelike, and you just get
I
stronger and
always
stronger.
get that one mixed up with Vampire Survivors. Or no, no, that is the one.
Yeah.
But what's the one I'm thinking of? Hold on.
There's
You
Halls of
continue.
Torment.
But
The Halls of Torment looks a lot like Diablo, and then there's one called Hollow Cure, which is anime.
Vampire the Masquerade. That's the one I was
Okay, that's
I was
a
like,
tabletop
or
game.
Redfall. Like basically. Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there may be games about it, but anyway, let's see. What else am I excited for? I did think that Matthew McConaughey was it Exodus. I thought that kind of looked good. I thought that kind of looked like it could be interesting. And the thing is like I'm not a sci-fi guy. You know this. I'm a fan. I'm a fantasy buff. Now I do like sci-fi. I do enjoy sci-fi. It's not like I don't like sci-fi. Like I played a lot of Destiny 1 when it first came out. I love sci-fi. But I am more of a fantasy like D&D guy. So Baldur's Gate was like right up my alley, which by the way, I think they 100% deserved what they got. They made a phenomenal game for what was up there. Now I saw a lot of people talking about how Spider-Man 2 got robbed.
What were all of their awards or nominations? I always forget.
So for Baldur's Gate 3, they got they were nominated for audio design, they were nominated for narrative, they were nominated for obviously Game of the Year, they were nominated for RPG, best RPG, they were nominated for like I could probably pull this up. Let me see.
Now, I have a question. Do you feel like games should have not timeout, excuse me.
You go in timeout.
Just hey, you're not gonna be in this ballot, okay? Let's be real. No, but like, do you think that games should have a what's the word I'm thinking of? Impressionable. Snap. Do you think that they should be able to be in every single category?
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I'm asking.
Well, you know what?
That's
you know, you're saying for variety's sake.
Yeah, because honestly, like, I mean, look, and obviously, I understand that a lot of people like it. I bet if I tried Baldur's Gate, I would love it too.
Yeah.
Honestly, even though I'm not a D&D guy,
right?
I love story.
Right.
I love how.
Yeah, and if you like a story. If you like a good story, oh my god, it'll blow you away.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And the thing is, you do not know how many people I've talked to at games, like recently, even before we started recording, I went to a GameStop to go see if Ragnarok was on sale because I lost my copy. But I went there and the guy was like, "Hey, what have you been playing?" And I was like, "Oh, Starfield and like this one other game I can't remember, Hyperviolent, which is on PC, which also really good game that just came out. It's a boomer shooter basically. It's really cool." But I was like, "Yeah, I've been playing those," and I was like, "Do you have anything that you've been playing?" And he was like, "Baldur's Gate." And I was like, "Oh yeah, dude. I'm not surprised."
I'll play it with look, I'll play it with you if you want someone to go through it with. Like I will play it with you.
It needs to go on sale for me. It's one of those types of things.
That's fine.
Because I'm like, I don't know if I'm like cut out for spending so much time on it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, let it go on sale.
But like, yeah, no, I know you're excited. We have other close friends that are already invested and excited.
Dude, my buddy Zach, he played through it like 3 times already.
Yeah. See, like, I mean, look, but the one thing that I do think is that, for example, I think it was best independent game.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Yeah. The winner was Sea of Stars. And I'm like,
right.
I know for a fact that at least, and I think that was the only nomination that they were up for.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, I believe that was the only one. I'm trying to find it here.
Yeah. They weren't even able to actually give an acceptance speech, which is just crazy to me. And I know that
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate also didn't get that as well, but except towards the very end, and even then was cut off, which was awful.
Yeah.
But one of the things is like, to me, I'm like, there were way more games that were not involved in the Game Awards.
Sure. Now, I will say, to answer your question, do I think
sure. Go
they
ahead.
should be allowed to be in multiple categories? I say yes. And the reason why I say yes wholeheartedly is because, look, there are so many games that come out and the developers make excuses for why the game is bad. And
Okay.
if a game developer comes out here, puts their slong on the table and says, "Look, this is what we got for you and it's great and you're going to love it." And then it goes out and millions upon millions of people say this game is amazing, and they do something that just changes the gaming space and it's incredible and it blows everybody away and it's a clean sweep like what they got here. I think
Now,
yes, they deserve to take the gold because they put their best foot forward and made something absolutely incredible.
now, may I ask a question? And this is me
Yeah.
being a novice, especially with this, because I do not know anything about this game. I know that you can bang stuff, but other than that, I don't really know anything else
Yeah.
because of, Twitter being like, oh, hey,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
bear time.
Yeah.
So, but do you think that it actually changed anything or is it more so that this is just one of those things where it's like, oh yeah, no, it's a great game. I don't think it changed anything like in the sense of like how we look at games
Yeah.
or something of that sort.
I do think it changed things for the gaming space as a whole. Now, do I think that it brought something new to the gaming space? Not necessarily, because games that require choice and like accessibility, as far as like, oh my gosh, you can do XYZ in this game, like that's been around for a while. If I
Right.
was going to say that they changed something for the better, I would say how they came out. If I was to say one thing that they definitely changed that really made me like push them forward, like, yes, these guys are amazing, is the fact
Yeah.
that they came out and they specifically said, yeah, we got together, we made a game. We don't expect you to pay microtransactions. It's a full game at this price. You get what you paid for, and you get everything we give to you, and there is no catch. You spend the money, you get
Especially
everything.
when that's not the case with every single other game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There are so many games where it's like microtransactions upon a game that doesn't seem finished, and then you have to wait for it to be finished. Like, it is a finished game. Like, yes, of course, it's not a perfect game. Like, obviously, I've had my gripes with it. There are some things that's like glitches and stuff, but
I've seen your videos.
Right.
I've seen your videos.
Right, but
Yeah.
the thing is they are so on top of it. They listen to their community and they immediately fix it. That's why it was in beta for so long, was because they were taking in all the feedback they could take in to make sure that the game was as functional as it could be before they released it, because they knew that they were dropping
Yeah.
an absolute bomb on the industry, and it was incredible.
Now, with that, because I do think that it's interesting, because one thing that I've always hated in the industry that's been kind of like a thing that just has stayed in the industry
Mhm.
is the beta and pre-beta or pre-alpha or whatever, because it had that longevity. Because I think we were talking about it at one point. You were like, yeah, it's been out since like
Right.
2016.
Not
something of
not
that sort.
not that far, but
No, I know. I'm just saying, like, whatever
like
it was. What was it?
2021, I think like 2021 or something. Let me see. How
Okay.
long was BG3
In production.
in beta?
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
3 years it was in beta. Okay.
3 years. So, do you think with that, because people were able to play it, like,
Mhm.
for example, do you think that that should be, I guess what I'm trying to say is like, okay, the difference between, let's say, a Starfield or even a Final Fantasy 16, where these games didn't necessarily, they had, people being excited for it and maybe some shows and demos, but never really was given hands-on to community that it represented or that was going to take over for it, do you think that they kind of had an upper hand though
Yes.
for that?
Yes.
And should that be an account for that?
Like in terms of it counting against the score?
Possibly.
I don't think so.
I kind of do.
I don't think
with
so.
any game. It's not just with this one particularly.
Right.
I'm not trying to bash Baldur's Gate.
Right. Yeah. So are you saying like you think that maybe it's almost like they cheated by letting the audience play?
No, but like I think like so. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example for a video game that I absolutely love.
Sure.
I love The Forest.
Yeah.
Okay, is a really good game. Okay, that game was in beta since I was in high school.
Right.
Which was like 2016. And then I got it, and like it recently came out like maybe 2020, like actually out of beta, and and then they moved on to their next game. And I'm like, for that to now for me, it was great. I loved it.
Yeah.
You know, even with the bugs or whatever. But to have it then be maybe put out like the next year being like, hey, we're gonna put this as a nominee, I would be like, yeah, but that's kind of that game didn't come out like that year. I feel, in my opinion, whenever you press, hey, publish.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
I don't feel like if we did that with our videos, would people be like, yeah, that was a great video in that time period?
Right.
Like, does that make sense? Like,
I see what you're saying. You're saying like, should the game be based off of whenever they first went into beta, or should it be based off of when it was released, basically, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think if I kept adding on to one video every single time that I got feedback, but it's the exact same video, I think people would get tired of it.
I see what you're saying.
Be like, I would be... Now, I know for the people that weren't there, obviously that then becomes, like, their great, awesome thing, but then I'm like... And no disrespect to the developers that are involved, by the way, with Baldur's Gate. Like, I want to iterate that again.
Sure.
Because I know that I sound like I'm bashing on it, but it is kind of like a...
We're just talking opinions. It's fine.
Question. No, fair enough. But I think it's just an interesting question to talk about, because it is like, when do you... Like, for example, with... what was it? There was a game that just came out, The Finalists. Right?
Oh, the finals.
That one just actually finally came out.
Yeah.
No pun intended. But, you know, with that took years or months, or not even months, but let's say years. And they were like, hey, we finally came out with it. I would be like, that's a game from like 2019, or 2021.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I totally see what you're saying. Let's see. There's a number of reasons. First off,
I was waiting for you to be like, you're wrong.
Well, no, I mean, in my opinion, I don't think that should factor in. I think that if they get Game of the Year because of their game. See, the thing is like, even if it's in beta, it's not the full release. I mean, even in beta, you can only play, I believe it was just Act 1 out of 3 acts. You could only play Act 1, and they used the small piece of Act 1 that they put in it. They used that as a playground for players to be able to say, hey, I don't like this. Hey, I don't like this. Hey, I like this. Can we do more of this? Hey, I don't like this. And it allowed them to fine-tune what their player base liked and what was good, to then put what people enjoy in it. Because the thing is like, as games get bigger, there's going to be so much to account for that it doesn't matter how big your team is, unless you have thousands upon thousands of people working on one singular game. It's going to be very hard for all of them to be able to weigh in and catch what might be bad or what might not be good. And so I think adding the players in there and letting them try it and letting them put their feet... The important thing is putting your feedback in there and it being heard. That's what I think makes them stand above a lot of developers, is the fact that...
Well, do you think...
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm going to challenge it, but continue.
I was just going to say the fact that they let their audience be heard by them and change what needs to be changed, and the fact that it's not a full game in the beta is what I think lets it stand. Because when they fully released it, it included a major, like it was like one third, if that, like 1/3 of the game that was the beta, and then after that they added in 2 whole thirds and completed the entire game, and it was complete on release. That's why I think it's perfectly fine, and I think as games get bigger, it's important for them to, let people see what they're cooking in the kitchen before giving them a meal. Letting them choose off the menu. You go to a restaurant and you decide, hey, I want a burger. Well, you get to see what's all with the burger, what sides you get, what drink you get, and all that stuff before you get it, so that when you get it, you're satisfied. You don't just get, you order a burger and you get two buns with a piece of lettuce in the middle. You get what you paid for. And that's why I think.
But I feel like at Carl's Jr., they look way better than what I get. I'm messing with you on that. But no, I was even just thinking a little bit, just like with, then would you consider, like, if you were like a nominee, right? Or not a nominee, but a nomineer? I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
Judges this. Do you think that you... I'm going to start using that. I don't know if that's a real word, a nomineer, but I'm going to say that for now.
I got what you're saying. Just a judge.
Yeah, that actually works a little bit better. But do you think like Cyberpunk could have been able to be Game of the Year this year?
Yeah. I mean, I think honestly, if it made a big impact, but it was after Larian Studios absolutely dominated.
True.
The thing is like, Cyberpunk really came back with a vengeance, and that's why I'm really glad they won an award, for it. And I think that's awesome. I think that's great. But the difference between Cyberpunk and Baldur's Gate is when Cyberpunk released, it was the quote unquote full release. It wasn't a beta. If it was a beta, I feel like people might have given it a little bit more leeway if it was a beta. But no, it was marketed and put out as the full release. Like, this is the game. And that's why everybody was so pissed. If it was a beta and they were like saying, oh, the game's in development, we're working on it, give us your feedback, I don't think it would have gotten the backlash that it got. But I really don't think so. Like, yes,
because I'm the opposite.
I think it would have gotten a good amount of a backlash, but then it's a beta, so that's what it's for. Right. So then they would be able to then change it, right? But
fair enough.
But no, it was marketed as the
like
full
when
release.
People say betas and they're stuck in that perpetuity of being a beta, is that when, like, even for example, I'm gonna use Cyberpunk as an example.
Yeah.
Even though they were fully, so to speak, everything was out there to some extent. Even when they were like, hey, we finally dropped our final DLC, which was the Phantom Menace or whatever it was called. I don't actually remember what it was called.
Star Wars Episode 1.
Yeah. There you go. You get to play as Darth Maul as Idris Elba. But yeah, no, with their Phantom Pain. What is it? No, that's Metal Gear.
That's Metal Gear. I don't remember.
Phantom something.
Just continue. Anyway, I'll look it up.
Yeah, no, with that.
Phantom Liberty.
No.
That's what it's called.
Yeah, I know. With that being their final thing and being like, okay, now we're moving on to our next thing, I'm like, I don't like that.
Yeah.
I think that you guys should be still putting out more. I don't know, and that's just my opinion on that. With those types of things where either or, if you've done messed up and put out maybe like 3 or 4 things and you're like, this is good. I do think that that's good. I still don't think that you guys should be moving on though.
Right. Yeah. Least... No, for sure. Yeah. See, the thing is like, again, comparing it to could it have gotten Game of the Year? I think it could have gotten a nominee, but the thing is like, when the competition for what was put up for nominees, all of them were
awesome.
All of them were great, and all of them were released as a full package. Again, I really think it does speak a lot to Cyberpunk whenever they release a game and say, all right, guys, here it is. This is what you've been waiting for. And then it's garbage. That really hurts the reputation. Even though they came back with a vengeance and fixed it and made it good, that bad taste is still in a lot of people's mouths. Whereas when Larian put their game into beta. It was still good. When the beta came out, it was still amazing, and everybody really liked it. But they knew there was improvements that needed to be made, and the important part is that they listened to their community and made sure that they got the full package on release, unlike Cyberpunk that gave them an unfinished crapshoot when it first came out. Now, they fixed it, and that's amazing. But that first impressions are very important. And that
is true.
They really messed up with the first impressions. But could it have been nominated? I think so, but it's a little late to the party at this point.
Fair enough.
They still got an award, though, which is great. But
yeah.
But yeah.
Were there any things that you think that got basically like, no, what's the word I'm thinking of? Like they should have got it?
Oh, as far as like a like what I think should have gotten certain awards.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at that. Let's see.
I will say, as you're looking that up, one of the games that I was like, oh, this is crazy. But then I was like, oh, no, please don't say that, was Sean Murray's interview for Lights of No Fire. Or Light No Fire. Which is basically, those are the people that did their Hello games. And during his interview and him talking to Jeff Keighley about what their new game is, I was so scared for their developers because of how he worded it. Because I will say this, I don't think that he's the worst at speaking in public, but the way that he described his video game, and by the way, I'm not the best at public speaking. I mean, you can probably hear me in this podcast of me pausing and trying to figure out what I'm trying to say.
Right.
But with him, I was just like, brother, you're trying to sell a game. Do not sell it this high, because of just all of the things. He was like, this is the biggest game that we've done. I was like, you've only done one game, first off. Second off, you said that about the last game, and look how long it took you to get to that biggest thing, which, hey, No Man's Sky is amazing for the 10 years that it's been out.
Right.
Which I'm just like, oh dear God. Hopefully this one looks good, but I'll wait until it actually comes out to actually be like, was it actually? I don't know.
Looking through all of the awards, so when I look at best community support, now does that mean support from the fan base to the game?
Which I'm going to tell you this, Halo lost so much there.
I don't think Halo was part of the best community support.
They should have. The thing is, the Halo community has been thriving.
Yeah, I did hear that they came back like Cyberpunk,
so good,
like the game came back as a
I love it.
whole.
I'm actually playing it like almost every single night now.
Yeah, that's great.
Which I'm like, it's where it should have been. Like a year ago.
Yeah.
Even though I almost said 3 years because it felt like 3 years. But the game's only been out a year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no. So basically, what that is I think the community award is like how much stuff you're pushing out and how much you're taking in from like how we have been talking about Baldur's Gate, where it's like, hey, this isn't working, this isn't that great, blah blah blah. Oh, okay, let's go fix it, team. Like, you know, that type of thing.
Right.
So it is, and also whatever you're pushing out with every single iteration or update.
Right. So I will say, like, I feel like a lot of the awards that were given were justified. Like, I don't really feel like anything really got the carpet yoinked out from under them, really, because the competition was pretty fierce. Like, this year was a great year for gaming. I would say the only thing that kind of irked me, and it's not that it's wrong necessarily, it's probably my own personal bias, but best community support. When you look at best community support, I think that's basically the fans supporting the game, right?
Okay.
I think that's what that means, because it's not the game supporting the fans, because that would be at player's voice, right?
Okay.
Gotcha. There's a player's voice category where like the players are heard by the company and they make changes, which Baldur's Gate won that as well, which is true because they listen to their fan base and they make changes. So if best community support is what I think it is, and that's based off of the, support from the community of players to the game, like, yes, of course, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win that. But obviously, like, I have a fond place in my heart for Final Fantasy 14. But obviously, Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win that. But the only thing is, and this may be my own personal bias, I personally think that the fan base for Baldur's Gate 3, as much as I love the game and as much as I love everything that they did this year, I think the community is so brain rotted in so many ways.
Mm-hmm.
And that's simply because they overlook so many issues with the game and just say that it's a perfect game. There's nothing wrong with it. It's amazing and you're stupid. And that makes me so upset sometimes.
So they have the rose-colored tint glasses.
Right. Now,
so
look,
yeah.
I will say there's nothing wrong with having the rose-tinted glasses because as a whole, the game is absolutely phenomenal. But they're obviously, and I know that they'll fix it, right? Because again, Baldur's Gate, Larian Studios is on top of that. They listen.
Yeah.
They change things. They make updates constantly. They're constantly working on making the game as good as it can be. So I know the issues that I've had in the past will eventually be fixed because I know I'm not the only person that feels this way, right? Obviously, there's more people that feel this way. So it'll eventually be fixed. And when it is, then that'll be great. I even said in my review that it will be a 10 out of 10 when these things get fixed. But my goodness, there is a good amount of brain rot from people that are willing to overlook anything and everything. And if Baldur's Gate doesn't win any, like a certain sort of thing, they're like, oh, it's rigged, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, it sucks. Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate. And again, the game is incredible, but it does have its issues. Every game has its issues. No game is a perfect game. It's going to have its problems, which is fine. But you know, I mean that's just me. They're small gripes. And then obviously I see
I'm
things.
just saying Gollum was pretty solid though.
Shut up,
dude. You can buy that for like $10 now.
That's too much.
That's the best deal ever.
That's too much. Oh my goodness.
Actually, the
they should pay me to play the game.
Literally. Oh, dude, that would be awesome. Well, did they go under 2? I feel like they should.
Oh, dude, I don't know.
Why don't as a group, as a community, we should just be like,
they should just take it down. It shouldn't be buyable. Any price is too high.
Like, dude, no, I actually a couple of months ago, I actually thought about buying it and was like at a GameStop in like Missouri.
Yeah.
And was like contemplating either buying this or Wanted Dead. And the guy was like, "What are you doing?" Like
he just straight up told you that?
Yeah, he was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Well, it's in your sales." And he was like, "Don't buy either one of those." I did buy one. I ended up buying Wanted Dead, it's awful. And I kind of want to do like a video over it. I just don't know what.
Yeah,
yet.
man.
I'll be like, "What the hell is this?" That's gonna be the caption. But yeah, no, it's an awful game.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's interesting.
Well, in conclusion, the Game Awards I thought was great. There was obviously things that could change about it, and I mean, as time goes on and more games came out, I mean, this is again, like we'd mentioned, a big year for gaming. So there's a lot to talk about. We haven't even touched on Alan Wake 2, which I haven't played either of those games, and I still want to play them. But that could be something to bring up in a separate episode. I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the first episode here. Thank you for joining me on the first episode, Bobcat, as well as anybody who happens to watch this. Thank you very much. We will do our best to keep it consistent with this. I definitely enjoyed chatting with you, Bobcat. It was a lot of fun. And so this is the first episode of the Level Up Lounge. Hopefully that's not copyright by anybody. We'll figure it out. That's our name currently. So if we have to rebrand eventually, then we will. But hope you all enjoyed. This is our first attempt at long form content. If it takes off, who knows? We might eventually open up a Patreon with bonus episodes if people ask for it. But so this is the first episode, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed us talking about the Video Game Awards. Let us know in the comments other topics that you might want us to talk about. And until next time, we will probably be trying to upload these once a week if possible, but we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants and see what happens. So anyway, take care, everyone. I'll see you all next time. Any closing thoughts, Bobcat?
We need more Final Fantasy music. That's it.
Dude,
That's all.
the music is pretty banger. All right.
16 was amazing.
Yeah. All right. See you all next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.